Hispanoamérica, bienvenidos a 35 milímetros. Estamos en Los Ángeles, California, exactamente en Westwood, en la avenida Wilshire. Y desde aquí les tenemos información acerca de una película de terror, The Lazarus Effect.
Same dream.
Cuando el decano universitario se entera de sus experimentos subterráneos, su proyecto se cierra inesperadamente y todos sus materiales son incautados.
The human brain, we only use 10% at a time. It's not that we only use 10% of our brain, it's that we only use 10% at a time. And Zoe's brain is operating 100%, and it's firing all at once, all at the same time. So essentially she doesn't know what's real and what's not, and it's creating this overlap of fantasy and reality, and she's developing telekinetic powers and essentially crazy psychic is the line that I use in there, and that's pretty much what it is. It's just, her brain is just completely out of control and very dangerous because of if you think about a nightmare and then that nightmare becomes real and you can't tell the difference. You're bringing the nightmare into reality and reality into the nightmare, and it's a big old mess and people get hurt. It's very dangerous.
I want to know what happened to Nico now!
Wait, Jesus Christ!
Lazarus is about a group of scientists who are working on a project designed to bring people back to life. They don't ever dream that they'll actually achieve that goal within their lifetimes. They're developing a serum that will hopefully eventually be able to bring people back to life, people who have flatlined during surgery, people in comas. The idea is that it's sort of a jolt to the system that brings people back into this realm. When we meet our characters, they're working in a lab at a university, working on animals, working with test tubes, never expecting to have to work on a human. And then everything goes very, very wrong. They end up having to bring back one of their own, and chaos ensues. I play Zoe McConnell, who's a doctor who's one of the head researchers on the team. She developed the serum that they use to bring the dogs and people back to life, and she is the fiance of Frank, who is our lead researcher and kind of the boss man. So the two of them are working very, very hard for years on this project, and we've hired a team to work with us, and it is really fun playing a scientist and a doctor and someone who has these incredible goals and ideals.
Good morning, Dr. McConnell.
Good morning, James.
This whole process started with the Lazarus serum. The goal here is simple, to bring someone back from the dead.
I think Ava is a very open character. Compared to the other characters in the script, she's very open and she's very susceptible, and she's kind of, in this scene, there's a scene where she touches Zoe after she's died and we've brought her back to life. And Ava she's almost like a conductor or an empath for the thoughts or the changes that have gone on in Zoe's head. So my character goes into this dream-like sequence or the visions that Zoe's having in her head at that time. And she's dealing with the power of Zoe's past, which comes in the form of a younger Zoe. Zoe played by the wonderful Olivia Wilde. And so this dream sequence is all about the fears, the deep underlying fears of humans. And I think when Ava's pulled into this, she's so confused and so terrified because it's not real, but it feels so real, and she's burnt and she has scars. And she believes, my character believes, and she knows something is wrong. So everything that happens to her, she believes wholeheartedly, and all the while probably not being believed by her coworkers.
right, she's in shock. I need a blanket, please.
Yeah.
Hey. Baby, it's me. You're okay.
Frank,
Give me the blanket, hurry up.
I can't find it. Where?
It's right over there, it's in the top.
Did I just die?
I play the character of Frank, who's sort of the leader of this research group. He's a very confident guy. He's got a lot of hubris. He's a good leader, but he might be a little blinded by his own ambition. There are also some things in his past that make him really dedicated to trying to figure out a way to bring people back from the dead. So he's very capable, but his attitude is a little dangerous. So when we start the film, we pick up with this sort of crackpot group of scientific researchers, all from different arenas. And they've been working on resuscitating small animals and bringing them back from the dead and trying to maintain as much of that brain as they can so that when they're brought back from the dead, they're not impaired. And you know, we see this group starting with pigs and dogs, but there's one event in the film that forces them into facing whether they can do this successfully with humans.
He starts to count down, then we go back to the dog, and then we're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And then something else happens.
The group of researchers in this film is almost kind of like the scientific version of the Avengers. They're each good at their own one area. I play Frank, who's a very good leader, and Zoe is very good with the chemistry, and she's sort of come up with the serum that's really going to help infuse the brain to come back. And Nico is a really great computer and technical guy, and Clay is this sort of young wild card who happens to be a stoner, but is also very brilliant with his ideas. So amongst the four of us is a very good synthesis of skill sets to maybe sort of crack this idea of how can you bring someone back from the dead.
About one. In 3, 2, 1.
No effect. Maybe if we up the dosage next time, if we up...
The Lazarus Effect nos presenta una reflexión filosófica sobre la moralidad y los límites del ser humano. Este film se desarrolla con el estilo de falso documental, conocido como found footage.
Playing God with a bunch of dead animals.
If we're going to be asking big questions, we have to be ready for the answers.
Ava and Clay and Nico, we all experience Zoe's change in her demeanor, in her attitude. It's like a vacancy. I think what the audience is going to gradually see is the Zoe that we knew and loved as a character disintegrating before our eyes are being taken over as such. And these dreams, these nightmares in her head are coming forth. These projections are emerging from her subconscious. And I think that's part of the process of maybe bringing someone back. We left open a portal for other things, for other parts of you perhaps that didn't exist or were never allowed to exist to come through. And watching her is so unnerving because she doesn't seem human anymore. She doesn't seem like the girl that we knew, yet she's pretending like she's fine, which is all the while more worrying.
Basically, nobody knows why, but the moment you die, right then, your brain just floods your system with this massive blast of DMT, which is the most potent psychedelic on the planet. And when you think you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, or the Blessed Virgin Mary, did I do that the wrong way? Anyway, it's just a big trip that you're having, really. It's all it is.
So when we begin the film, our group of researchers and scientists have been resuscitating smaller animals. They've then failed on a pig, and now they come across this dog named Rocky, and they are able to successfully bring him back, but they're monitoring him to see, is he the same dog he was before he died? And he's not the same. There are mood swings, there's some marked aggression, but the question is that something they feel like they can fix? And is this a healthy process? Or is that something that is going to go off the rails? And they sort of start to track that through Rocky at the beginning of the film. Yeah, you know, there's the great story of Frankenstein, which is you create this monster, you love this monster, but this monster might destroy you. So how do you handle that? And my character Frank finds himself in a similar situation in this film, wherein A terrible accident happens in our laboratory, and I lose my fiance, and we're forced to bring her back to life with some of this technology that's not tested and not stable. And we try to do our best, but she's showing signs that she is not the same person that she was. So my character Frank has to figure out how hard is he going to try to get things right with her, and how much danger is he willing to put him and his group in order to do that.
Shh, calm down. What's happening?
I can hear things. I can see things. Look at my hand. Wait.
There's nothing wrong with her.
Frank, when I died, I went somewhere. I was in the building. I was there. I could hear the people. They were stuck.
Zoe, that was a dream. It's a traumatic memory from your childhood. It's not real.
That's what I thought. I couldn't wake up.
I'm such a neuro nerd. I'm really into all things neurological, and I'm fascinated by how little we know about the brain. And one of the things we're exploring with this plot is the idea that when animals or humans are brought back with the Lazarus serum, their neural pathways are firing at an alarming rate, and they're accessing more of their brain than we've ever seen in a living being. So they say we're using 10% of our brain at a time, at once. What if we were using 90% at once? What would we be capable of? And it taps into all of our sort of suspicions about clairvoyance, or about, sensitivity, using other senses that we never have actually tapped into because we don't use that part of our brain. So the idea is that once the Lazarus serum is in the body, your brain evolves rapidly, and you have much more power than you're expected to have, which is why you can be so dangerous.
We could do something like that, or something like. I'm just focusing.
Zoe suffers from nightmares. She went through a traumatic experience when she was a child, and we, as the audience members, see very early on in the film that she has this recurring nightmare that involves people being trapped in a burning building and burned figures trying to get at her. And it's really terrifying, and she struggles with it privately. And when she is brought back to life using the Lazarus serum, she is stuck kind of in this in-between kind of world in between her subconscious and conscious brain. And she kind of can't figure out what is real, what is not real, and she's driven crazy by these visions from her dream. And she actually starts to manifest that physically, and she at least feels, and the audience feels, that she is becoming this burned figure from her memory, from her dreams.
Whoa, that's too much neural activity.
What the hell's going on here? We're gonna duplicate the experiment.
3, 2, 1.
Zoe, she's been electrocuted. Clear?
I'm not gonna lose her.
You're talking about bringing someone back from the dead.
No, no.
Hey, sweetheart, it's me.
Did I just die?
You okay?
I think something's wrong.
You've just been through a traumatic experience.
You need to let your body heal. What?
It's not Zoe in there.
I went somewhere.
That was a dream.
No, it was hell.
Zoe, we can help you.
It's too late for that. You have no idea what you've done.